Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Dual Hearts. Today we've caught up with that Baku. Maybe we'll get some answers as to what the heck's going on here, not that most of it isn't already pretty obvious. We also proceeded to the second part of the Battles of Conscious. So let's go say hi. Any minute now. There we go. Key, yeah, that is what we're looking for. There is something up there. I don't believe it's the key, actually. We will be back to this level, so I guess we'll find out eventually. And those two switches look awfully familiar compared to the Temple of Dreams. Wonder what we have to do. No idea. But that's new. Yes, there is combat in this game. This is our first enemy. Eventually. Probably doesn't have ears. I wouldn't really talk to him. Shocking, I know that. First level was so difficult. Shock number 2. All John Q. Public surprise. I'm not really sure what's going on with this belt. Shiny and glittery with huge sacks of money. We did kind of see them go by in the last scene. They really shouldn't be a surprise. I also love this scene because the monsters are kind of hanging out there like, hey, I'm still here. To be fair, I'm not really sure what a bag of money was motivated by. And here we go. Remember that the Baku did acquire 2 of the treasures, and here they are. We've got our first weapons. That's the sword is the Ragna Edge, and the weapon, the spear, is the Longinus. Yeah, I think this is supposed to be a clue that you're supposed to use the sword to beat this guy, but I believe I ignored this during the first combat. Let's check this out. There's a few problems with this. Number one is that in this early level, your lock-on is actually intentionally nerfed until about level 3. Also, you can't block. This is the only dungeon where you can't block. Number 3 is, check out the Longinus. It actually goes through the money bag the first couple of times in order to hit. It's because it actually only works if the tip of the Longinus hits the enemy's hitbox. It's a little frustrating. It took me a while to get used to it. This scene also kind of encapsulates the entire game. Check out the little dance he does. His animations are interesting. Yes, here begins a relationship built on, I guess, mutual abuse of each other, like a lot of comedy duos. What a coincidence. Check this out. New game mechanic. Esamon. I don't know what that name was derived from, but it does apparently feed the Baku. So the game couldn't just use SP or MP here. They have to use what we will eventually refer to as tummy points. This is how the Baku use his magic abilities. And we'll get to see a few of those as we move on. He also serves a function similar to Navi. He's your advisor. You can look at him with a triangle and talk to him with X. Since we don't really want to look or talk to him at all, we probably won't ever be doing this. I kind of ignore most of those tutorials, but the only actually interesting thing is the fact that you can push L2 while he's accompanying you to refill your health, and it costs 1 tummy point per point of health refilled. But we didn't need to do that because there was a health restore right there. Also, if you've played Banjo-Kazooie, this would be very familiar to you. He operates kind of similar to a Yoshi, but actually closer to Kazooie from Banjo-Kazooie. You can ride him with R2 and use a breath attack with the circle button. And he's significantly more mobile than our everyman hero right now. Let's demonstrate the breath attack, and then we'll collect some of these rings. These are in fact rings, and they even make the same noise when you collect rings in Sonic the Hedgehog, so yet more plagiarism. And of course, they're all interchangeable and worthless, so we need more than life itself. And there's a sheep in the box. Of course there's a sheep in a box. Why wouldn't there be a sheep in a box? We'll talk to him later. First I want to finish collecting the rings so I don't forget them later. Video game collectibles. This is the health restore. I don't know why we need a health restore since there are barely any enemies. Again, this sort of is indicative of the fact that you can only collect a small handful of the collectibles in each world on your first visit most of the time. Notice that we only have 20 rings. There are 100 in every major level. They do not respawn, and they are in fact used to unlock things later on. Note that every time I kill an enemy with our weapons, 2 Isamons of a different color are produced, and the Baku sucks them up. So yes, now he sucks literally instead of just colloquially. Also note that all I can really do is slash once and poke once. The weapons do evolve with time as I continue to attack enemies. It only takes 10 enemy deaths to get to level 2, at which point we get a real combo. But I won't be grinding for that here. I'll try to acquire the levels naturally as I play through the game. We'll save the grinding for off. Let's say hi to the sheep. Why wouldn't we talk to the sheep? Hello to you too. That's an excellent question. No, we're not talking about Baku. And I wouldn't take any guff from a sheep caught in a metaphorical dream box. Baku, as usual, is about 15 seconds behind the rest of us in the conversation. And here we found out that actually, as it turns out, the weapons can be used to solve puzzles by holding down the spear button. So we'll see here, you can charge the spear attack and shoot things upward. Conveniently, that is not the way to solve this puzzle, so we'll have to learn about the sword charge attack, too. This also works in enemies, too, as I'll demonstrate later. It's actually a pretty cool way to knock things around if you're really pissed off for some reason. He speaks so eloquently. Considering the sheep delivers a number of tutorials in the game, I kind of imagine him speaking with like Alec Guinness or Morgan Freeman's voice, but maybe that's just me. Yeah. So, I know there's a saying in fiction that says, show, don't tell, but I think after all that we've been shown, in terms of how incompetent the Baku is, I think he also deserves to be told it several times as well. Yeah, even fewer reasons to have to actually talk to him, because when we're actually fighting a boss, the game just gives you a hint. Check this out. This is one of our primary collectibles. This is what the Queen was talking about. There's Dream Energy. We're gonna get our first freebie here. It's the only one we actually get for free. And of course, as suspected, Baku has no idea what they're talking about. And here's a gold Isamon. This is our second collectible. The Dream Energy is mostly for progressing within the Dream Temple and unlocking more levels. The gold Isamons are more for acquiring unlockable items and bonuses. So most of our early collectibles are going to be Dream Energy. Not too much else to do here, but now that we have our charge attacks, we can open up these 2 boxes. It should be pretty obvious what we have to do. So what I was trying to demonstrate here was the idea that you can hit the circle or square button really hard. For some reason, there was a convention in video games made around this time to try to start abusing the fact that there's some degree of analog sensitivity in the pushing of the face buttons on the PlayStation 2 controller. So if you hit the button hard enough, you can actually start the charge attack without having to hold it down. It doesn't really work that well now, because PlayStation controllers don't really age all that well, and they're in fact not as sensitive as they used to be. So this caused me a few problems over the course of the game. Look, there's a sheep again. I like how he has a little sign that tells you that it's a sheep in case it wasn't incredibly obvious just by looking at it. And yes, the Baku actually does that little dance basically anytime you're not riding him when he's on camera. It's incredibly annoying. Anyway, here's our boss room, and I believe we fought this guy before. I trust him, why not? Anyway, my plan A here was to show that you can do what I'm about to here, and try to juggle the money bag the entire way through the fight with the upward charge attack. But as it turns out, I kind of messed up the hitbox. My plan B, if I failed in plan A, was to charge blindly in and let him kill me. But as you're about to see, I failed in both of these plans. Yeah, he's basically only got the one attack with a little charge here, but since the lock-on is nerfed, I actually can't use the dodge move the way I would normally want to. You got the second attack where he, like, opens up and deposits some money, which is kind of cool. At least it's a little harder than it was the first time around. First time around he only took 3 hits. There we go. First level complete. First key acquired. Victory dance. Yeah, it keeps doing the victory dance. Shocking, I know, the yellow door. This really shouldn't be a surprise. You saw all 6 of the other keys in the previous cutscene. I'd sort of naively expect that, as a Ruin Seeker, he would have the powers of observation to pick that up. And yes, now we actually get to name our characters. I guess this is what his actual name is? Rumble. That's a horrible name. Thankfully, I've got a better one. I'm not really sure what the design motivation was behind waiting this long before after you've already completed the first level to even get to name your characters. It kind of makes the narration really difficult. Yep, stick with that. And here's a small bug. For some reason, since I was at critical health when I finished that last fight, for some bizarre reason, the health won. It's going to flash the entire rest of this cutscene. And yes, he has a ridiculously long name, but we already knew he was a bumbling royal, so why wouldn't he have a crazy name? Let's give him a better one. How adorable. His default name is Tumble. We have a little rhyming scheme going on. I think I'll stick with that. I basically chose this entirely because the sheep called him a bumbling Baku in the last cutscene, and also because I watched a lot of the Burl Ives Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer when I was a kid. I don't believe it becomes a running gag. I think this is the last time we hear his name for quite a while. And I am, in fact, really glad I chose a really goofy name because I'd sort of forgotten this, and it'd actually make this cutscene play out a lot better if it wasn't a serious name. Fantastic. I chose it myself. That wouldn't be great. Well, he seems happy about just about anything, so why not? Oh wait, there's more. The sheep is stalking us. Not entirely certain I trust the knowledge of a sheep who got stuck in a metaphorical dream box, but you know, what a thing to do. I believe the sheep only explains things I've already told you in the course of this narration, so we're going to skip that for now. And that's the end. So typically, we don't need portals. Typically, we can leave by pushing the select button. So let's go check out the menu screen and show things off. Notice that we need to kill 5 enemies to upgrade our 2 weapons to level 2, so we'll do that in the next level. There are, in fact, pieces of jewel. I have 0 of them right now. Here's a Bumble's screen. I have absolutely nothing, but you can also raise his tummy size the same way. Here are the 3 temple keys we've already acquired. The other items, obviously, I have none of, but there aren't very many of them. And here's our completion percentage. Pretty simple. We've done practically nothing in Valor Stream. The last thing is to save, which we'll do. This is the only time I'll be showing the save screen, most likely. And that'll be the end of it. We'll leave the dream, enter the real world for the first time. I'll see you tomorrow on the next episode of Let's Play Dual Hearts. See you then.